The wasteland is full of stuff you can sell to buy things you need for a journey, right? From simple items like a pencil to more elaborate ones like mini nukes. Yeah, those are great. But what if you decided to trade one thing for another? No caps involved. Well, that got me thinking, can you beat Fallout New Vegas as a cigarette trader? Let's find out. My name for this run could be an easier, Nico 10. And of course, a face must match the name. Since I would most likely be using melee weapons for the run, my stats were Strength 9, Perception 1, Endurance 9, Charisma just 1, Intelligence 6, Agility 5, and Luck 9. And for my skills, they were Barter, for better price when buying items from vendors, melee weapons for better damage, and Speech, just in case things went south during the end. I selected the perks Heavy-Handed for more damage and Good Nature, which reduced 5 points from melee weapons but increased 5 points in Barter and Speed to make up for it. Alright, while I searched the Doctor's House and Good Springs for cigarettes, here are the rules. First, I can only use items in my inventory that I acquire from trading cigarettes. This includes weapons, armor, and stim packs. Second, quest-related items are allowed as long as they don't provide any advantage, like healing. Third, I can use beds and water fountains to heal my health and recover from injuries, since you don't technically buy them. And finally, the only items I am allowed to sell are cigarettes, packs of cigarettes, and cartons of cigarettes. Ashtrays don't count. That's it. Let's begin. I met Sunny Smiles, who handed me a gun I couldn't use, so I dropped it and headed straight to Chad, our main supplier for this run. After searching the town, I managed to scavenge 2 cartons of cigarettes and 3 packs. Chad would have given me 64 caps for them, but here's the fun part. Instead of taking the caps, I traded them for items equal in value to my cigarettes. Here's what I got. 1 9mm pistol, 2 complete tutorial, 11 9mm rounds, 1 pre-war hat, plus 1 perception, 1 shovel, and 1 straight razor. I completed the tutorial as close to the borders as possible. Given the current economy, I couldn't risk missing the shots, right? When I got back to the saloon, Trudy and Cobb were arguing about the divorce. Again, I figured signing with Cobb would be more profitable for my new endeavor. At the gas station, I carefully positioned myself until I was hidden for Ringo to increase my damage. Within over the way, I reported back to Joe Cobb. He asked me to shake down the store owner and the doctor for supplies, which I didn't do, since those items don't really fit my rules. And the fight began, and most of the townsfolk were pretty easy to kill. The dynamite boys were helping after all. The toughest enemy was Sunny Smiles. I never realized how strong she was until that moment. With the quest completed, I level up and tribute my points into my 3 major skills. I also chose the Confirmed Bachelor perk for X damage. I returned to the gas station and slept next to a dead body to regenerate my health. From there, I made my way to Salon, where I found a decent amount of cigarette cartons. Afterwards, I headed to the correctional facility. Since I helped Joe Cobb, I didn't have to pay a fine to get in. Inside, I found more packs and cartons of cigarettes, which was nice. For whatever reason, I decided to do some legwork for Eddie, like convince Chaves to get the hell out of there. When I got back to Eddie, he handed me a bunch of stuff I couldn't use, so I just dropped in like they were trash. Anyway, 2 more jobs to go. First, dealing with the bounty hunter who was cosplaying a traveling merchant. And then I headed to Print to uncover the NCR's plans regarding the prison. At Print, I ended up busting my leg trying to disarm the mines on the bridge, but no matter, I pressed on, headed to the sheriff's house, where I found a pack of cigarettes. After that, I slept next to 2 dead bodies to recover my health. What am I doing with my life? Once I recovered, I dealt with the convicts terrorizing the casino. I found another carton of cigarettes, and then I confronted Johnson Ash for information regarding the assault on the prison. Naturally, before leaving, I stole every cigarette I could find. I slept next to the dead bodies again, because why not? Then I returned to Ed, who was so pleased with my service that he mentioned that I didn't need to stick around and fight off the NCR. At level 3, I increased my body to 40 and melee to 35. After that, I tossed all the gaps that gave me into the trash. Priorities. And then I fast traveled back to Print to finish the town's quest. On my first attempt, I was doing well, until I confronted the boss. I made the questionable choice of using my pork skills for a weapon, the straight razor, instead of the shovel. I died for the first time while drinking from the water fountain. On my second try, things went a bit smoother. I realized the shovel was my strongest weapon at the moment, so I used it to take down the leader. Luckily, or maybe miraculously, the backup arrived and almost finished me off, but somehow, For some reason, I managed to escape with just 1 health point. What the hell happened? I slept next to my friends again to recover and head back for the final round. The last convict made a run for it, alright, and I saved Beagle. I promised him I'd bring Law back to town, since I already had the perfect candidate in mind, Myers. A former force of the law, and just a little crazy. Maybe. He just needed a royal pardon or something. Oh, and on my way out of the prison, someone decided to take a shot at me. I have no idea who that was, probably the NCR. From there, I fast traveled back to print and made my way to the Mojave outpost. The board outpost turned out to be a pretty decent place. It had more cartons of cigarettes than expected, all of which I carefully grabbed with some clever positioning. After that, I barely had the minimum speech skill required to convince Major Knight to grant Myers his pardon. With the pardon in hand, I went back to print to nominate the new sheriff. At level 4, I boosted my border to 45 for even better discounts, melee weapons to 50, to increase damage, and speed to 45. For some extra points, I decided to go with the educated perk. Now it was time to head to Nipton. The town unfortunately was pretty disappointed for cigarettes, just a couple here and there, sadly. There was no way in hell I could take on the Legion, so I simply agreed to spread the word and be done with it. On my way to Novak, I stopped by Ranger Charlie to the place before, well, you know, they died. Novak didn't have much in terms of cigarettes, just a carton and a couple of packs. I also chose to receive the Ghost quest, knowing there was no chance I could defeat the Night King, and I didn't have Stealth Boy to handle it peacefully. Boulder City, on the other hand, was much better stocked with plenty of products for my business. When I first met Jessup, I quickly realized how easy it would be to get hooked on my products, but at the time I didn't have speech skills to convince him to let the hostages go, so I left the conversation. Since I had progressed in the main quest, I leveled up a couple times, reaching level 5 and 6. I increased my speech just enough to convince the cons, then put the rest into the melee and barter. Oh, and I went to the Bloody Mass perk for extra damage. With Jessa hooked on my cigarettes, he agreed to let the hostage go. After that, I had to convince another fellow to keep his word, and with that, the quest was complete. As usual, I had to Camp Golf to grab the key card. On my way there, an NCR ranger handed me a radio. Unfortunately, since it's considered a quest item, I couldn't get rid of it. Once at Camp Golf, I snagged the key card and proceeded to steal every cigarette that I could find before heading to Camp McCarran, which turned out to be the second gold mine for cigarettes. I found so many cartons, packs, and loose cigarettes there that I could probably start my own business. After that, I carefully made my way to the monorail. At the strip, I had straight to Lucky 38, which I consider to be the best place to find cartons of cigarettes lying around. From one businessman to another, I introduced myself to Mr. House. Howdy. Naturally, I used my bar skills to demand more money and XP. Sorry, House, but that's just capitalism. Before leaving the casino, I took a quick nap in my presidential suite. Afterward, I had just enough proof and speech with Swank to lure Benny up to his room. That's how business is done. Up there, I didn't waste any time. I took my shovel and I shoveled Ben's head. In this line of work, Giffy got to be the shark to swim with then. Oh, and I introduced myself to Jesse Man just in case I needed him later. Once I had the platinum chip in my hands, I headed straight to the old Mormon fort to start my trading business, which, if I'm being honest, turned out to be a mistake. As you can see, I use all of my cigarettes, all my packs, and some of the cartons to buy stim packs. I made sure I didn't get any caps as change. Maybe I could have gotten more if my body skills were higher, but it's alright. Leaving the fort, I saw more cartons from the Crimson Caravan, and then I headed to the gun runs, where I was hit with a harsh dose of reality. Everything was ridiculously expensive. Given the current inflation, I could only afford one reinforced metal armor and one reinforced metal helmet. There was no way I could get a better weapon, though maybe I could have managed if I had been using a silence pistol, but it was too late for that. From there, I fast traveled back to Good Springs. Here's why I said it was a mistake buying supplies from Julia Fortress. Chat gives you a special discount after completing the town's quest at the start of the game. Not only does he pay full price for items, but he also offers a considerable discount on his products. It wasn't a catastrophic mistake, but a mistake nonetheless. No point going over it now. While I chat, I bought more steam packs, a shovel, a razor to repair mine, some psycho for extra damage, along with beer and gun drops to balance the transaction. Alright, I had to go out of the cove, where I leveled up after witnessing a sweet moment between Mongrel and its master. I reached level 8, once again increased my major skills. I also chose the toughness perk, which is pretty useful for melee build. The fourth was business as usual. Unfortunately, none of the Asian soldiers there had cigarettes, so I decided to light myself up just for fun. Once I was done goofing around, I met Caesar. Despite his appearance, he did not smoke. I simply agreed to whatever he said and headed out to the bunker, where one of my shareholders was waiting for me. Howdy, House. I agreed to upload the data, seeing how it was profitable for both of us. I couldn't afford to waste my steam packs, so I wore my armor to minimize their use. The robots were easy enough, but the turrets, they were a real problem. They dealt a lot of damage, forcing me to use some steam packs, which definitely hurt the wallet. Still, I successfully managed to upload the data. Oh, and in case you're wondering, there was actually my first time using steam packs in the run. If you're also curious why my karma is bad, well, I guess that happens when you live a life stealing cigarettes. I returned to the Lucky 38 to regain my health. And when I, Dr. Nicotine, was living, Emily Ortho approached me with an offer to bug my friends network. Of course I accepted, the free XP is always worth it. Before completing the quest, I stored everything I had bought in a gun cabinet. I bugged the system, but when I returned to her, she was frustrated it didn't work. I didn't care much about it though. They accepted me. Alright. Anyways, I leveled up and I finally boosted my body skill to its final stage, reaching 70. I would be increasing the body any higher than that, there wasn't no point in doing so. I also dropped every single item she gave me before retrieving my stuff back. Back to the main story. House invited me downstairs. He was desperate to show me his grand idea for our business. It was alright. After heading back upstairs, he insisted I visit the boomers, but first I leveled up again and I finally reached level 10. I increased my melee weapons to 82 and speech to 70, which was more than enough for now. I also selected the second stage of Stephanus perk. Next, I met the boomers, who were so thrilled to meet someone who could light up their language, speak. Honestly, I was interested in doing their quest. It didn't quite fit the profile of an entrepreneur like Mr. Nicotine. So I left Pearl's house and waited until everyone was asleep to ensure the Mojave wouldn't have to worry about old world values. As you can see, Pearl, this old, sweet and yet questionable lady, was a beast. Up next were the dynamic duo themselves, Orsting and Smo, or as their friends called them, Jack and Loyal. They even managed to force me to use more than one steam pack. Do they have any idea how much steam packs cost in cigarette currency? I don't think they do. My exit didn't go as planned. There were two boomers outside and they wouldn't let fast travel. Heck, I even tried hiding to see if they'd forget about me, but no dice. I ended up finding them and used more steam packs, and then I fast traveled out of there as quickly as possible. Mr. House even made an interesting comment about that.
There's more than one way to skin a cat, as the saying goes. Or went, that is. Cats being extinct.
Next up was Gamora. I'd never tried this before, but I am pretty sure you can steal Kachin's diary even with zero sneak skill. Such an easy target. Anyhow, I used my bar skills to threaten him to spill the beans about the boss's plans. Afterwards, I took the elevator up to Glenn's room where I deposited all my caps into his fridge. I don't know why. I also snapped his carton of cigarettes before heading downstairs to his strike to join his boss. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough speech to manage that, so I went back upstairs, I traded some packs of cigarettes for Trooper Medex for future use, and then to have a nice chat with Big Saw. For Big Saw, you only need 45 barter and 53 speech to convince him to let Troik out of his deal. After that, I informed Troik he was free from that cold-hearted capitalist man, only to be trapped with Nicotine, who is just as bad. I then convinced him to plant the thermite himself. Unfortunately for him, he got caught in the act. Good employees really are hard to find these days, aren't they? So it was up to me and Kachin to deal with the bosses. I didn't have enough speech to convince Kachin not to hand me a gun, but it was fine. I still had the straight razor, which is a weapon you can sneak past security. Here's everything Kachin gave me, but I dropped all of it except the steam packs. I only dropped the exact amount he gave me, which was 3. As for Nero, I wore my armor to minimize damage and I used my poor reason to take him out. The Brotherhood of Steel was next, and completing the quest would determine who would rule the Mojave House or Yes Man. I played my part until I was allowed to move freely inside the bunker. After that, I planned to destroy it. If that proved too difficult, my backup option was siding with Yes Man. First, I smashed the radio and returned to the Elder, who gave me green light to roam around. After that, I dropped a quick save just in case things went south, and waited for Gamora to return to his hibernation chair. As you can see, I successfully stole the keycard from his pocket without a hitch, even with just 17 sneak skill. Paladin Harden was also fairly easy, but the last one didn't go so well. That one was on me. I got a little too confident after successfully stealing 2 keycards with such low sneak skill. I got careless when trying to swipe this corpse target's card, didn't play it safe and had no choice but to try and kill him and grab the keycard, but that plan backfired and I ended up dying. On my second attempt, Gamora was still a breeze, however Hardin caught me in the act this time. Thankfully I managed to corner him and take him down with my trusty shovel. I still have no idea how he missed so many shots. Come on man, and you wanna be an elder? Anyways, with his kid's card in hand, I left the throne room. On my way out, I used a true bow I had traded for at Gamora to slow down the Brotherhood soldiers. Once I reached target, I didn't take any risks this time. I went straight for the kill with my trusty shovel. I grabbed his key card and initiated the self-destruction protocol. That entire section drained all my stim packs, but I managed to escape just in time. Then I went back to Good Springs General Store to trade cigarettes for some stim packs. And I took another nap in my suite before heading to Hoover Dam, where the president was supposed to give a speech promoting my brand. Naturally, before any of that, I scoured the place from top to bottom in search for supplies. Surprisingly, there weren't as many cigarettes as I had hoped. Just a stash at the local store, which was the only spot worth borrowing from. Back upstairs, I talked to Grant and finally started the mission. With access to everything, I head to the landing spot, where it's surprisingly easy to steal the detonator from the fake engineer's pocket. I reported my finds to Grant, who sent his goons to deal with the assassin. The president was safe, my brand was promoted, and I leveled up, allocating my remaining points into melee weapons and speech. With that done, I paid Chet one final visit. I traded my stash for another shovel to repair mine, grabbed some steam packs, and took a poke as change. Next, Boss Man sent me out one last time. This time, I had to head to the El Dorado substation, so I fast traveled back there, and honestly, it was pretty straightforward, just in and out with no issues, and thanks to my questionable reputation with the NCR, it was surprisingly easy. I got back to Luck 38, finally ready for the battle at Hoover Dam. From this point on, things got hairy. Most of the Centurions weren't paying attention to me, but the few that did, well, let's just say that my damage output was far from impressive, not even close. And my backup Securitrons, they were doing about as much damage as I was, which wasn't a good sign. So as soon as I took down the first Centurion, I headed downstairs. After outright lying to some lawman, I installed cigarettehouse.exe, secured the papers demanding the general surrender, and redirected the power to the fort. Before heading back out, I took some time to regenerate my health by drinking clean, purified water. As you can see, we took care of the Centurions and I made my way to the camp. Okay, just look at this. Look at my damage against this Praetorian. You see that? That's not good. I quickly realized I couldn't defeat a single guard, so I made a run for the hills. Once there, I used my speech to convince Lanius to face me on a one-on-one. And let me tell you, my damage, absolute trash. He's on the other hand, outstanding. So I died. I tried again. And I died a second time. I kept trying over and over and over, but no matter what I did, I simply couldn't defeat the Legate. So I reload the previous save point you get before entering the final battle and decided to visit some place to complete the quest and level up. My first stop was the Mojave Outpost, where I agreed to take care of the ants for Ranger Jackson. But while I was with the ants, a Legion hit squad showed up for whatever reason, forcing me to flee. I did try to keep fighting both the ants and the Legion, but it was completely useless. On the bright side, the Legion ended up killing the ants for me. Thanks, I guess? Anyway, I returned to Jackson to complete the quest. By the way, if you don't specifically mention the reward, he won't give you supply, so that's nice. From there, I fast traveled back to Free Side, where I killed a couple of common criminals before agreeing to help Julia Fox with some of my customers. Luckily, as soon as I finished helping the first, I leveled up to level 12. I put all my points into speech and I selected the Here Now perk, which essentially gives you a free level. With that, I reached level 13. I maxed out speech and I dumped the leftovers into melee weapons. After that, I headed back to level 38 to take on the final battle again. I basically repeated the same steps as before, so let's skip ahead to the Legate. This time, with 100 speech, I had the option to convince Laniustron to leave Riverdale. Back at the gates, I informed General Oliver that I had a benefactor for my endeavor, none other than Mr. House. From there, it was just a matter of presenting the right papers and convince the General to leave Riverdale behind. I spoke with Mr. House one final time, and I completed the game as a cigarette trader. Mostly. Well, things might have gone a lot smoother if I'd used a silenced pistol instead, but oh well, maybe next time. And I gotta say, this is the second trade run I do on this channel, and I simply love them. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. I'm Laniustron, until next time.
And I can make sure it not only runs, but runs on time. Always bothered me, the imprecision. No need to worry about the general